Right now, about 1 million creatures are living in your pillow. Every single one of them is eating you. Hi, curious minds! Scientists went house to house, room by room, and counted close to 100 different kinds of arthropods in the average home. Though in fairness, about half of them just wandered in from outside, had a look around, and died. The vacation did not go as planned. The rest live here full-time, and they're arranged into a proper food chain, from the one that eats you, all the way up to the one that eats everyone. We're going to climb it from the bottom, and somewhere along the way, you'll realize you've been afraid of the wrong ones your whole life. The first link looks the most harmless of all, mostly because you can't see it. Dust Mite. He's the most numerous tenant in the building, and, conveniently, the hungriest. The size of a speck of dust, invisible to the naked eye, a distant cousin of the spider. In our household jungle, he's the capybara, a relaxed herbivore that chews around the clock and bothers nobody. The only difference is that here, the pasture is you. What he eats is what keeps falling off you. That 1.5 grams of dead skin a day. That alone feeds nearly 1 million mites. The genus name, Dermatophagoides, is Greek for skin eater. They named him after the one and only thing he does. So, naturally, he settles where your skin piles up most. The mattress, the pillow, the couch. Yes, the one you're probably sitting on right now. When you get into bed, your body warms it up and raises the humidity, which is exactly the climate these mites love. So the hungriest ones drift up toward the surface, closer to dinner. So if you ever get uneasy about falling asleep alone, relax. You're not alone. There's a banquet in full swing underneath you, and you're the buffet. And he never bites you. Not once. The sneezing and the red eyes in the morning are your own immune system throwing a tantrum over his droppings. The mite isn't a pet, but at least he interacts with you. The next one won't even look at you. Booklouse. You can read your walls off her, under 1 millimeter, found in almost every home. And unlike those wandering tourists from the intro, she lives here full-time. She isn't actually a louse, by the way. She doesn't bite, she doesn't live on you, she just looks the part, and the name stuck. And book is because she's forever hanging around old paper. What she eats is microscopic mold, starch, and glue, including the glue holding your book spines and your wallpaper together. She reads a book cover to cover, literally, starting with the cover, which technically makes her the most well-read creature in the house. An actual bookworm. When did you last get that deep into a book? She turns up wherever it's damp, behind the baseboard, in a flower pot, in that box of old papers up in the closet. So she doubles as a free humidity sensor. Spot one, and there's mold nearby you haven't found yet. No manual, no warranty, but it finds the problem before you can smell it. And every one of these has something hunting it. And that hunter has something hunting it too. And you've probably already tried to deal with it yourself. But that's for the end. The next one on the list, though, you've definitely seen with your own eyes. Silverfish. That silver teardrop that bolts across the bathroom tile the second you flip on the light. A wingless, smooth insect with 3 tails and a resume that's genuinely awkward to read next to your own. The silverfish is one of the oldest insects still alive today. Its lineage was crawling around somewhere between 250 and 400 million years ago, tens of millions of years before the dinosaurs, and it has barely changed since. Like that guy from high school who hasn't changed his haircut or his opinion since graduation, except she's been at it for hundreds of millions of years. While evolution spent ages fiddling with everyone else, taking the legs off lizards and releasing snakes, teaching fish to walk on land and then shoving whales back into the water, it looked at the silverfish once, said, "Good enough," and never came back. She eats starch and cellulose, paper, book glue, wallpaper, sugar, the occasional shirt, and she can go almost a year without eating at all, as long as there's water. A college student the week before payday, stretched across an entire school year. And this is where I always stall out. A creature older than the dinosaurs that survived every mass extinction in a row is right now pointing all of that at the spine of your diploma. The mite, the booklouse, the silverfish, they all chew on something, and all of them eventually die, which is exactly when the next tenant steps in. Carpet beetle. He eats the bodies of everyone else in this video, except yours, probably. The adult beetle is almost embarrassingly harmless. It flies around outside, eats pollen, and looks like a ladybug that's had a rough year. All the horror is in the larva, a small fuzzy thing people call a woolly bear. And she's the local Charon, except she ferries bodies instead of souls. She eats keratin, hair, wool, silk, feathers, dry skin, and the bodies of other insects. And beyond that, almost anything. Entomologists have logged felt, dried fish, spices, grain, and horn on her menu. At some point, the authors of a pest control handbook gave up and wrote that the list was too long to print in full. Somewhere in there, between the spices and the horn, sits your favorite sweater. Those tastes have earned him a double reputation in museums. One branch of the family is on the payroll. You hand the colony a carcass, and a day or two later you get back a perfect clean skeleton with every fragile little bone intact. Meanwhile, those same museums are at war with his other relatives, who will happily chew through the taxidermy collection and the insect cabinet. This still cracks me up. Same beetle. One branch got hired, the other got a restraining order. And that same beetle is working in your carpet right now, clearing away fallen hair and the bodies of everyone in this house who's already had their run. Cleaning you never asked for, and nobody will invoice you for it. He also frames the neighbors. The hairs on his larva catch in your skin and cause itching and little red dots that look uncannily like bedbug bites. Dermatologists write that this rash regularly gets pinned on bedbugs and fleas, so people fumigate their homes for bedbugs that were never there. That's the last of the eaters in this house. Predators come next, and that's where you'll find out who you've been afraid of for nothing. If you enjoy this kind of thing, subscribe. There'll be more. Thanks. Pseudoscorpion. Here's the first tenant who looks terrifying and is completely on your side. 2 to 8 millimeters with a pair of pincers exactly like a scorpion's, but no tail, no stinger, and not the faintest interest in you. In our jungle, he's the ocelot. Small, quick, and eats anything that crawls. He lives in the same place as the Booklouse, the shelf. That's what people call him, the book scorpion. And what he hunts is precisely the first half of this video. Mites, book lice, carpet beetle larvae, young silverfish. Which means that while you were watching this, he was quietly thinning them out. And here's the fact that got me. Aristotle wrote about finding these things in his scrolls, which means a scorpion the size of a comma has been guarding human libraries for over 2,000 years. And most of us are only hearing about it now. He doesn't even walk into your house on his own. He grabs onto a bigger beetle or fly and hitchhikes in. One of the most terrifying looking creatures in this entire video turns out to be the most harmless and the most useful. A free micro bodyguard who's been patrolling your shelf this whole time, reading over your shoulder. And the pattern only gets stronger from here. The next hunter is about 20 times bigger. Look up, over there, in the corner of the ceiling. Cellar spider. Fin legs, a span of 5 to 7 centimeters, and a web in the corner that looks like he gave up halfway through. You've almost certainly heard that this is the most venomous spider on the planet, and the only reason you're still here is that his fangs are too weak to break human skin. That's a lie, and it's backwards. Let's start with what he actually does. He kills other spiders, often bigger and more dangerous than himself, up to and including the Black Widow. And not head-on, he creeps up to a rival's web, plucks the threads to imitate trapped prey, and when the owner comes out to check, he throws silk over it from a safe distance and eats at his leisure. And if you startle him, he spins himself in the web so fast he turns into a blur you can't grab. That's where the myth grew from. For centuries, people watched this scrawny little spider take down a Black Widow and drew the only logical conclusion. If he can handle something like that, his venom must be the deadliest on Earth. A classic playground horror story. Everyone repeats it. Nobody bothered to check. But Mythbusters did check. The host let one bite him on camera. The fangs go in just fine. The venom is simply weak, and all you get is a mild sting. The whole job is done by strategy. Throw the silk, step back, wait. It doesn't help that Daddy Longlegs means 3 completely different creatures. Half the time people are picturing the Harvestman, which isn't even a spider and has no venom glands at all. Honestly, I like the myth better than the truth, but the truth is the exact reverse. He can bite you, and it really doesn't matter. What he does do is quietly clear your house of the spiders you actually should be scared of. But even the cellar spider has someone he'd rather not run into. The last tenant, the top of the chain, the apex predator. House Centipede. And here's the one you've probably already gone after with a slipper while he was holding this whole house together. 15 pairs of legs, originally from the Mediterranean, now living indoors on pretty much every continent. In our jungle, she's the jaguar, the top of the food chain under your roof. The menu? Silverfish, biters, carpet beetle larvae. If you've been keeping track, that's basically this entire video. She runs across your walls and ceiling at up to 40 centimeters a second. For her size, that's you sprinting down the street at 60 kilometers an hour, except straight up a vertical wall. She catches prey by throwing those long legs over it like a lasso, and she can pin several victims at once, like a waiter carrying too many plates on purpose. She is venomous through a modified front pair of legs, so technically she stings rather than bites. But to a human, that's roughly a bee sting, and only if you trap her against your skin yourself. And she's a careful hunter. In feeding studies, she was seen sizing up prey and steering clear of anything that could fight back. I'll be honest, the first time I watched one of these tear across a wall, I froze. Understandable reaction, and completely unfair, because squashing her just opens a job vacancy, and it gets filled immediately by exactly the ones you wanted gone. Cockroaches, silverfish, bedbugs. She came here on her own, works around the clock, never asks for a paycheck, and the only thing she gets for an entire career is a slipper. The night shift you never hired and never thanked. That food chain is running in the tightest apartment on your street right now. And yes, you've been afraid of the wrong ones your whole life, because the most horrifying looking tenants turned out to be the only ones keeping this place in order. Tell me in the comments which of these 7 you've already met at home. I'm curious how many people have the full set. See you soon, there's still more to tell.